Welcome, everybody, for joining us today with Spoiled Agent. We have a very special guest, and we're going to learn something new today, for us anyway. And it's called By Sea, which is a new St. Lucia Airport to Resort Dock Speedboat service. And we have the president, Rob Baker, from, you're from St. Lucia right now. You're in Texas, but we really appreciate you joining us and going over your concept and how brilliant you came to this and why.
Okay, thank you.
So, a couple of things before we get started, because Rob's got a great story, and I think you all want to hear this. So, we're going to get going, but I want everyone to remember that if you have any questions, don't put them in the chat because the chat is going to move up. We're going to lose it. Please put them in the Q&A box. And then Rob and I will take them at the end. Okay. But also in the chat, we're going to keep it for the hellos and, oh, I like this service. Can't wait to book it. Things like that. I'll put Rob's information, also the Spoiled Agent supplier page link, and all sorts of great things like that. Okay. But Rob, you have a fantastic prize for one lucky Spoiled Agent out there today, don't you? Do you want to tell us what that is?
Yes, what we're going to do is for anyone that gets an opportunity to come out to St. Lucia, I would highly recommend to take a look, especially through Spoiled Agents, some of the FAM rates that are being offered by some of the different resorts. And if you could come out and I would highly recommend select a resort that actually has the boat dock, and then you could get chosen and selected in today's drawing to receive your one-way free service and then 50% off of whoever's traveling with you.
Well, that sounds like a deal to me. But you have to stay on the question period, okay, in order to qualify. So if you're joining us here on Facebook, hi guys, we've got another screen over here with Facebook. And you guys know the drill. What you have to do is put your email in the comments. We're going to send them off to Rob. If you're joining us here on Zoom, we've got you covered. We've already got your email because you're registered. And in, I guess maybe next week, Rob will touch base and Rob will choose one winner. And when you get an email from Rob that you won, yay, then you can start booking your trip to St. Lucia. How's that?
Well, you know what I'm going to do because I'm excited about this new relationship with Spoiled Agent. We're going to go ahead and give a second one away. We're going to do two.
Wow. Did you guys hear that? Two lucky Spoiled Agents. How generous of you. Amazing. Oh, they love it. All the hearts, everything. Thank you so much. Don't forget, guys, two people might get an email from Rob next week. All right, Mr. Rob. So I'm going to let you maybe tell your story if you want to share your screen. I'll close
Yes.
up and I'll meet you guys at the end. But please remember, any questions only in the Q&A box so we don't lose them in the chat.
Well, very good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. My name is Rob Baker. I'm the founder and CEO of By Sea Transfers and Tours. This is a brand new service that we just launched in December. It's actually been a work in progress for over a year. And I always like to share a little bit about my story because for those of you that are in the travel industry, maybe some of you have been in the industry for a while. Some of you may be brand new travel agents to the industry. I've been actually in the travel industry myself for over 26 years, and I have a variety of different businesses. And a year ago in December, my wife and I were wanting to go somewhere unique and different that I had never traveled to for our wedding anniversary. And she actually selected St. Lucia. I'd never been there before. Typically, I'm more of a Hawaii type of a person. And we decided to go out there. And since we had never been there before, I really didn't know the layout of how things worked on the island in terms of how far things are at from the airport and logistically and such. And so when I started conducting some, review of where we were staying at a very beautiful resort, all-inclusive resort that had a boat dock at the north end of the island, we'll call it. And I started looking at the different options and found that there were really three options. There was a ground transportation, which is shared or private, or there's a ferry that goes out, and then also helicopter. And the ferry and the helicopter seemed a little bit of expensive, not really understanding how things work there. And when we contacted the ground transfer company, they said, oh, it's only going to take you about an hour and 15, maybe an hour and 20 minutes at the most to get there to the resort by ground, Well, we went ahead and did the ground thing. We showed up. The ground transportation was first 45 minutes late. Once they did arrive, it was just a very rickety van. It wasn't very nice. But the worst thing about it was it took us 3 hours and 15 minutes to get to our resort. We had a couple of other couples with us who were being dropped off at resorts right next to ours. Everybody but myself, I mean, I felt a little woozy, but everybody either got car sick or motion sickness on that drive. And the reason is, if you haven't been to St. Lucia, the roads are single lane. They have potholes, I call it, like every 50 feet. And the people drive pretty crazy, because it's kind of like, I call it almost like bumper car driving. They're just speeding around and going in and out and this and that, you know, kind of going in front of the person that's coming at them. I mean, it was really kind of crazy. But the thing is, they're windy roads, and with all the stopping and going and bumps and this and that, people got sick. Matter of fact, it was so bad that my wife refused to take ground transfers back to the airport. We actually experienced the helicopter, and I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But at the end of the day, it was a really negative experience. I always like to say, especially for my customers in the travel world, I want my customers, when they show up to a destination, to have a very first positive experience. You know, your first impression of any destination or anything that you're doing is really important. And it was a terrible impression for us. Matter of fact, it was so bad that I'm like, I'm never going to bring anybody or refer anybody to St. Lucia just because of the roadways. Now, there are obviously resorts that aren't that far away that wouldn't probably be a problem. But if you're going to kind of the mid area like Castries and all the way up to the north end where Sandals Grand and some of the other hotels, the Landings and Beach Holiday and all that, those are really nice resorts, and it'll take you a while to get there. And so we really almost declined on ever coming back or promoting St. Lucia. But the next day, after we were feeling better, we went and rented a speedboat, went on the water, and I noticed that a lot of the resorts had boat docks. And I started checking it out with the driver and said, hey, how far is it to the airport from where we're at here at the resort we were staying? And they said, well, it'd probably take you about an hour and 20 minutes by speedboat. And so we actually went almost all the way to the airport. And I noticed, obviously, all the boat docks, and noticed it was a beautiful drive along the west coast there towards the airport. And I thought, well, I asked the guy, hey, does anyone have airport transfer business? And they're like, well, no, they don't. The only thing is available is the ferry, but the ferry doesn't drop you off at each of the resorts. They drop you off at a couple different locations at main ports. And so I went back to St. Lucia 4 or 5 more times and stayed at different resorts and did my own investigation and started going on to the beach of each resort and introducing myself to guests that were at the resorts. And I did my own little survey, I call it. And I probably may have surveyed, over the 5 times I went out there, maybe 50 to 60 different guests that were on the beach, and asked them all a question. What are your top 3 favorite things about St. Lucia? And what are your top 3 negative things about St. Lucia? 100% of the time, the number 1 and 2 thing was getting to the resort, meaning the ground transfer was not a positive experience. So as a result of that, we launched this service, we put it in place. Took a long time to put into place. And as I said, we just launched it this last December. So we've been having some really, really great reviews. So let me real quick go through the overview. If you have not been to St. Lucia, I would highly recommend, as a travel agent, you want to experience where you're going to be sending your people. I always feel that the agent that does the best is the one that can share versus sell. And the difference between sharing and selling is you're selling something you don't know about, but you're sharing something that you personally experienced. And when you're sharing something you personally experienced, it brings a lot more credibility. In addition, I always like to say, learn how to become a destination specialist. Get rich with a niche. Find your niche in whatever it is. And if St. Lucia could be your niche, imagine taking, for example, groups to St. Lucia and traveling for free and making money while you're doing it. To me, that's the ultimate lifestyle as a travel professional. But let me tell you what we do here. Like I said, it's a brand new service. We're by sea transfers and tours. We just launched our tour division also, which I'm going to share with you also. That's me right there on our boat when I was out in St. Lucia. And it's just a beautiful island. There's no doubt about it. Now, once again, why use by sea services? Like I said in my story, help your clients avoid a negative first impression and a bad experience from using airport ground transfers. Now, obviously, the ground transportation people aren't going to be thrilled with me saying this because that's their livelihood. But I want to provide clients a high-end VIP luxury experience. You want to help your clients avoid the windy single-lane road with potholes resulting in 2 to 3 hour drives. Passengers complain about getting motion and car sickness. Other transfer options have limitations like the helicopter and such. And I don't want to ditch on any of those other services. They're all unique in their own special way, but none of them drop you off right at each of the boat docks like we do in a limited manner. In addition, on the helicopter, your luggage does not go with you on the helicopter. That actually has to take ground transfers and it meets you at your resort, or they pick it up early in the morning when you depart. And you still have to take ground transfers to where actually the helicopter pad is located in the center of the island. But it does drop people off at one resort that actually has a helicopter pad, Jade Mountain. It's probably one of the most luxurious resorts on the island. It does drop you off there. But I think even for Jade Mountain, our product is a really good product because either it's helicopter and you really need to get there by speedboat as far as I'm concerned. So we're offering a luxury service. This isn't some kind of a low-end rickety type of speedboat in St. Lucia. A lot of the boats aren't that quality when we come to speedboats and such. Now the catamarans are really nice for the tours, but they have a lot of people on them. You know, you could be on a catamaran tour that has 30, 40 people. I call it the cattle call. So it's like a bunch of people all crammed together, where our boat seats a maximum up to 14 people. And so we drop people off at the boat dock. And if they don't have a boat dock, we drop them off at the nearest marina and then include the balance of the trip, which is typically maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Even there's people that have Airbnb staying at off-site locations that we also help. And then obviously we pick people up at their boat dock to take them back to the airport. There's our boat right there. And part of our experience, I wanted to make it super VIP, that we provide everybody a beautiful souvenir cup. So there's our professional guides that are a part of the trip. So what happens is when on arrival, and we'll just talk about arrival right now, people arrive to the airport and we always recommend fast track, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And once you get through customs and get your bags and go through I call it the entry inspection, then you go out to this area that has a bunch of kiosks and ground transfers, people getting picked up and such. So our guys are out there waiting for the customer. We hook the customer and the client up with WhatsApp. So that way when they land, they could WhatsApp our lead guy on the ground on the left there, Arnold. And Arnold has a WhatsApp. They have a WhatsApp, so they're communicating right when they land. If they're using fast track, they'll get passed by the big lines that are typically there going through customs. And then they take them and drop them off right to our guys. And we take a 5-minute trip over to the dock on our reserved van that we use with the luggage. So all the luggage goes in the front end of the boat. We could seat up to 14 people. And then once you get aboard, we have a safety inspection or safety overview. It's a recording that we have that's no different than if you were getting on an airplane, because security and everyone's health and wellness is very important. We have all sorts of medical devices, choking devices, heart fibrillator. Our guys are trained in first aid and such. And we provide everybody after the safety briefing a beautiful souvenir cup. And this isn't some rinky-dink little plastic thing. This is a very nice cup that we provide with a lid on it. It has our brand on it. Matter of fact, if you bought something similar to this, it'd be about $85 to $9 EC, which is about $40 US. And we provide them not the watered down cheap alcohol. We provide the high-end stuff. So all of our alcohol is high end. If they don't want alcohol, we have other non-alcoholic beverages. And then for the kids that are aboard, we have fruit boxes and things like that. So it's a super positive experience from when they get on the boat. Now, once again, up to 14 guests. We have a retractable rooftop. Typically, we keep the rooftop on just in the event that some people want to kind of be out of the sun. One of the questions that we get is, what happens if it rains? Well, welcome to the islands. It rains on the islands. You know, you never know when it's going to rain. And it typically doesn't last very long, maybe 5-10 minutes. We always tell passengers, when you're going to any tropical island, bring your rain gear with you. Bring a poncho, bring a cap, bring something, right? And then, you know, typically you just dry off. That's part of the experience. You know, I've personally taken my own service like 18 times now, and maybe 2-3 times we have a little bit of showers, and it's not a big deal. The only reason we would discontinue the service is if it was like a major storm, and then we would then go ahead and get everybody on ground transfers because nothing else is going at that time anyways. Now, another thing that I want to tell you is there's a great service called Fast Track, and we really, really encourage everybody to get Fast Track entry and also Fast Track exit. In other words, if they're going back to the airport. And then there's also a brand new lounge called the Destiny Lounge. Now, if you have not been to the St. Lucia airport, it's a small airport. So coming in, keep in mind that a lot of the flights arrive within a specific window. The very first flight may not have such a huge line, but once you start getting into the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth flight that are all arriving at the same time, the entry line can be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half. So if you have Fast Track, we have a partnership with the company that runs what's called Fast Track, and it's a VIP. I call it the dignitary service. Kind of like if you're a dignitary or a VIP or a celebrity, you know, these guys meet you when you walk off of the plane. Now, keep in mind, there's no gate. You walk off stairs onto the tarmac and then walk into the customs area. And so what they do is they greet you right at the customs door with your name on a placard. You show them your passport and your entry information you need for St. Lucia. And then they walk you past the line. So it's kind of funny to watch everybody, you know, that's in this huge line, see you go walking past everybody, right? And so they take you right past everybody, and then you get your luggage, and then they escort you out over to meet our concierge to greet you. On the exit, look, the exit could even be a worse line. I've actually been there when it's a 2-hour line just to get through, I call it the little gauntlet. The first thing that you hit is this little desk, and there's one guy or gal working it, and they're checking your passport and your boarding pass before you even go into customs. Then you go into customs and you got to go through that. Then, like within 5 feet, you go into the TSA part where you're getting searched and all that. And then you go into the airport. Now, the airport is 2 levels. On the bottom floor is row plastic seating that are where all the gates are at. And they have these little shops, souvenir shops, and kind of like souvenir shop type food. So there's really no restaurants or anything down below. If you go upstairs, it's very limited seating, very limited tables. It's bar food type stuff. So they have these couple of bars that you could get some food. And so you're basically in this huge crowd, and it's difficult to be sitting around and such. And especially if you have to get there early to help avoid some of the lines and such. So my suggestion is you get the Destiny Lounge. It's only, you know, and by the way, we don't make money or pay commissions on Fast Track. We just offer that service at our cost because we want to encourage our customers to get it, to have the best experience possible. But when they leave, not only bypass the huge line for exiting, you know, departing St. Lucia, but also to hang out in the Destiny Lounge. Now, there's a picture of the Destiny Lounge. They have snacks, they have drinks. Matter of fact, if you look at the bottom right corner, there's this little jug. Now that's like their own creation of a jungle juice type of stuff. It is so good. Is one of the best drinks I ever had. I've been trying to talk them in. They're starting to know who I am because I go there so often. I'm trying to talk them into getting me the recipe so I could put it on the boat, right? But you could have unlimited of that. You have snacks, you have Wi-Fi, you have these cushion couches. So you just kick back in luxury, and then before your plane takes off, the Harris people or the lounge people then escort you to the gate and take you kind of towards the front to get and board your plane. So we really encourage this service to provide the ultimate. And let me just show you a little bit about the boat. You'll notice before I start the video, the plushness of the boat. I wanted to have the best plush seats that we could have. They're the most comfortable seats. Matter of fact, we had a company that's looking to contract with us for cruise business that comes into cruise ports. And they took a test drive with us and they said, you know what, of all the speedboats we've ever been on, your company has the most cushiony boat. I could go to sleep on it. And the reason I wanted to do that is because everybody else that has speedboats in St. Lucia use really thin stuff because everything's cheap. Everybody wants to do it cheap. I said no to cheap. I want VIP luxury because I want my customers to travel how I want to travel. And I'm assuming you want your customers to travel how you would want them to travel. So I'm going to kind of give you an idea. We got the music in the background and just kind of get an idea of the experience. All right, so that was them picking me up at the airport, taking me to the resort. And I'm going to show you kind of like the first resort that we would go to called Sugar Beach. I'm not going to go through all the resorts. I just want to give you an idea of how it looks when we start dropping people off. Okay, we're making our first stop at Sugar Beach, so let's take a look at what this looks like. Beautiful resort. Okay, now we're going to go to Jade Mountain. Show you the Jade Mountain, which would be the next stop. Now, Jade Mountain is a beautiful resort. I don't know if you get a chance to do a site inspection there, even if you're not staying there, try to contact them and tell them you're a travel agent and you would want to do a site inspection. It'll just absolutely blow you away. And this is obviously for serious high-end luxury customers. But to me, you know, the helicopter's great and everything, but also the speedboat would be a great opportunity because in order to get to Jade Mountain, you have to take a drive, then take a little taxi ferry, and then get to the resort. So either helicopter or our service is the best service. All right, next stop, Jade Mountain. About 35 minutes. Took us about 35 minutes from the airport to Jade Mountain. You will not get there by car and water taxi that quick. All right. In terms of pricing, how does it work? We are very competitive with the ferry. We're a little bit more expensive than the ferry, depending upon where you're going. The ferry has basically a fixed cost. Doesn't matter where you're staying. We decided that it's not fair if somebody's staying all the way up at, let's say, Body Holiday, you know, and it's an extra 45, 50-minute boat ride, that the people are staying at Sugar Beach should stay the same price. So we broke it down in little regions. So starting at $139 per person, which includes the cup, which includes the drinks, right? It's an incredible deal. Plus you're getting your first tour, right? You're taking your first excursion when you get off the flight. All the way up to Holiday, Body Holiday, and Sandals Grand has a docks, and the landings have the docks. That's where kind of the farthest we go, about an hour and 20 to an hour and minute, 30 minutes, depending upon who we have to drop off before. And then we have a bundle package. So if you look in, over there where it says round trip, if they do round trip, we discount it a little bit. If they're 14 and under, we have a discount. Lap childs are free. And then we have a bundle package. The bundle package would include round trip and all of fast track entry and fast track exit and the lounge. Now, just want to let you know on commissions, we do not pay commissions. So we would back out the cost of the fast track for commission or net rates, which I'll talk about in a minute. So
Actually,
it just
Rob,
depends
if I
upon
can just
where you're
interrupt you
going.
for a sec. There's a
Sure.
gray box on the right side. I think you might have a window open that's just kind of covering a bit of the pricing and the
No,
timing.
that's the way it is.
Okay, no problem.
That's just the division, right? Because
Okay.
that's round trip. There's nothing under it. Because to the right of the gray boxes, it says adult and child. And then
Okay.
bundle, there's a gray box. And then to the right, it says the price, right?
Okay. Okay, no problem. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Now, also, we just introduced private tours. These are not general tours that we have specific times and dates. So if you have a group of 6 or more, you can now provide them, hey, not only let me get your ground transfers, but let me also get you your tours. So if you do have a tours, you can make that as an offline request to us if you have a group of 6 or more, and then we'll give you the price. And I'll talk about how all that works in a minute. So we now offer the snorkeling, mud bath, waterfall, buffet lunch, and shopping, which is a 5-hour trip. We pick them at the dock, pick them up at the dock, or we pick them up at the nearest marina location. We also have this one. This is an incredible one. If you guys don't know this, St. Lucia has an incredible award-winning rum factory. And if you love rum, this is a great experience to go check out. So we have a program called the Rum Factory Tour and Rum Tasting. Also the West Coast Tour. So they're going along the West Coast, seeing that. We include a lunch, shopping. It's about 5 hours. Great experience. So they have rum tasting, and it's just a really great experience. So anyone that's like into wine tasting and wine tours and such, kind of a similar concept. So we take everybody and take them on the dock, and pick them up at the dock or the marina, and then take them where we then transport. And by the way, our tour guide is with everybody the whole way, so they're not left alone to go anywhere. And then finally, we have what we call our 4-hour to 5-hour, depending upon if they want to add shopping and lunch, that's optional. But we have a morning 4-hour, up to 4-hour dolphin and whale search and West Coast tour. So this way we take them about 2 miles outside the island. We work with other boats and vessels that are basically scouting for the wildlife. And we all rush on over to see the dolphins and the whales. And depending upon the season you come in, you see more than less and such. And then once again, if they have a little bit more time, we could put a package together that includes shopping and lunch. So those are the tours that we also offer. Here's some testimonials. If you get a chance, you want to look us up on Facebook and TripAdvisor and Instagram and all that. We have some incredible testimonials. Matter of fact, one of our customers cracks me up because they should be a travel agent. They have sent us more referral business, and they're not even in the travel industry. They're just on Facebook, just telling everybody about our service, and it's been going on for 2 months. So we're really excited about that. Here's some testimonials. I'm in St. Lucia now and used by sea. It's honestly worth every penny. So we enjoy the ride, and they were fantastic. Here's another one. I highly recommended. I was picked up at St. Lucia Airport, then taken directly to my Airbnb at the north end of the island. King, Arnold, and Sean, those are our staff guys there. Made me feel very comfortable and safe as a single female traveler. Great music, loved the complimentary cocktail, enjoyed the tour of the island. And you can see there the distillery thing in the middle there that we take people to. And let me show you some video testimonials.
Top class, man. Top class. Service from the airport to the boat. Absolutely excellent.
Perfect. Another side.
Okay, and then let's go to the next one.
All right, so I'm over here with Michelle, our first guest on the By Sea Tours and Transfer. And we are over here at the Rodney Bay Marina. And Michelle, can you just give us some feedback on your experience here with By Sea Transfers today?
Yeah, so it's easy to find, right, when I came to the airport, and the transportation was pretty swift. I didn't have to have any kind of hassle about finding a taxi or anything like that. I got a tour of the whole island, the whole west side of the island. I was treated very well by all the staff here. I had a complimentary beverage or 3 our trip up north, and I felt very safe.
So would you recommend this experience to anyone coming to the island for the first time?
Absolutely.
Very
Yes.
good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your tour, and I hope you enjoy your souvenir wine tumbler.
Yes.
And of course, feel free to come back and feel free to spread the news all around for
I
us.
will do that.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you.
All right, and here's the last one.
How was that?
It was awesome. Oh my God, it was the best.
Very
Nice.
nice ride. It's like starting your vacation right away, right out of the airport.
Right away.
Better with the fast track, right?
Fast track was unbelievable.
Definitely breezed right through the airport.
So worth it.
Nice.
Thank
Nice.
you guys.
Okay, so you could hear them say it was totally worth it, the fast track and everything else. And then for our tours that we just started, here's some people doing some snorkeling.
Can I get a wave? Ooh, thank you.
All right. Now, this is kind of how it works for those of you that are travel agents. We do offer a FAM rate off of our packages and tours. If you have a group, anybody traveling with you, we would give 20% net rates. And just understand what a net rate is. In the travel world, I'm a firm believer that travel agents should have an option and an opportunity to put packages together and work with their customers and be able to get what we call net rates to basically add your commission in, process the funds of that transaction, and then pay your vendors and suppliers the net rates, and then maintain your commission instead of waiting 30 or 60 days after the trip's actually been taken. So I understand that importance because majority of travel agents work on commissions. And to me, nothing's worse than having to wait, 30 or 60 days after a trip's been taken to get paid by a supplier. So I offer net rates. So if you're able to process the transaction on your end with your customer, we give you a net rate 20% off of whatever the rate is on our website. Or if I say that this is the rate for a tour, then we take 20% off of that. You bundle it, put it together, you process it on your end as an agency or an agent, and then we do a contract. You pay my agency the net rate. You pay charge your customer the retail rate with your commission, and guess what? You just got your commission before the trip was ever taken. For those of you that don't have that ability, we do commissionable rates. What you do is you sign up at our website. So you go to byseatransfers.com. Down at the very bottom of the website, it says travel agent registration. Register as a travel agent. Once you do, we're going to have you in the system. Your telephone number, the last four of your telephone number will be your agent ID code. And then when booking for a customer, they would just go in and they would create an account. And then when they put in who was referred or processed your reservation, which is a required field, they put in your 4-digit code because that's what you would tell them unless you're helping them book that trip for the customer. But we always like to make sure that the customer is filling out the information because, for PCI compliance, credit card security, and things like that, we like the customer to complete the information. And then that way they're agreeing to the terms and conditions, but you would remind them to put your code in, which is the last four of your telephone number. And then also you would just send me an email directly and say, hey, Rob, we have a customer we just referred if they show up and they didn't give us the ID number. So typically, all of the agents that we've been dealing with so far have all, been in the loop on what's going on with their customers and who they're referring because, it's a little bit of a high touch service for customers because a customer who doesn't know anything about St. Lucia, that's part of having a travel professional like yourself involved in the process. That you could give them recommendations and share with them what to do, what not to do, where to go, where not to go, and such. So you're going to be involved in the process. You're going to know what your customer's looking for, and then obviously you're going to want to upgrade them to fast track and maybe pre-position, especially for groups, some type of a tour while they're on the island. So that's kind of how that works. My email, once again, is rob@byseatransfers.com. Go to the website, check it out. A lot of good information there. And, whoever is freezing around the United States, time to get to St. Lucia and experience an incredible destination. And once again, I highly recommend each and every one of you to become a destination specialist, learn how to become a good sharer, not a seller, and create a niche with an incredible island of St. Lucia. So I'm going to turn it back over for what we got going on next.
Excellent. Really, really great information. And we've got lots of great questions as well. So thank you so much, Rob, and for being such a great ambassador as well. I think This is a great service for people. You get some drinks, you get some special, feel to it, and a little bit of a bugaboo around the island. So, I mean, it sounds great to me. So if you can see the Q&A there, there's a few Q&As. So first of all, do you sell through Viator?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
So Joanne and a couple of people asked, what happens if you've got 30 to 50 people that all need transfers? Do you have access to second or third boat?
Um, Basically what we would probably do is take a look at the logistics, and if we did need additional service, we do have, one thing about the islands of St. Lucia, everybody's starting to know us and they want to work with us. Other competitors even want to work with us because their boat may be not available. They want to use our boat. Matter of fact, I just had that happen yesterday where a captain had a problem with his boat, and he subcontracted with us and we helped him out, right? So everybody works together. So if you had a big group, we would work logistically, maybe even take a look at working with the ferry and say, hey, you could have different pricing. We could do this amount of people on the ferry, and those that want the luxury high end, here's another cost, because the ferry is a little bit cheaper and holds more people. And then we'd work with the ferry guys in our company. So whoever wanted the VIP luxury could take the upgrade. Whoever wanted the ferry could take the ferry. But there's all sorts of options in Speedboat compatibility that we can do with some of our customers. I mean, some of our people out there.
Great. Lots of great questions coming in. Do you have a certification training at all?
I do not have a certification training yet, but I'm probably going to put one together, and then definitely we can, use this particular recording as a great training.
Yeah, and I also put into the chat on Facebook and here also on Zoom, Spoiled Agent Supplier page for Rob's company as well, By Sea. So there's lots of great information there as well, along with also this webinar will be there later today, of course. Kate's asking, how fast does the speedboat go?
Okay, that's a not question that I have no clue. But it
Fast
goes
enough.
faster than anything else that travels. Let's put it that way.
Perfect. Now, I know you kind of touched on some of the resorts and things like that, but I know there's 3 Sandals there. So do you know how long it takes to get to Sandals?
Yeah, the
Generally?
Sandals, there's 2 Sandals that do not have a boat dock. So we take it to the nearest dock, and then it's about maybe a 10-minute drive that's included. We provide the taxi or the service, the van. It's included on the arrival, but on the departure, you just work with Sandals or whoever to get to the boat dock for the departure. And then the north end, the Sandals Grand is the only one that has a direct dock. And that's, like I said earlier, about an hour and 20 minutes to an hour and 30 minutes, based upon who we're dropping off previously.
And in the beginning, you had kind of talked a little bit about, roughly the timing versus, going in your boat versus going on the ground transfer. I know it can be dependent on which resort, but can you give a rough idea? Chris is asking.
Yeah, so I'll just call it the first resort that we would say we would want to, have people consider our service is Sugar Beach. And so Sugar Beach is about 30 minutes, if that, 25 minutes. And then the next resort after that's Jade Mountain, which I showed you the video a couple minutes ago. That's about 35 minutes. And then you just go along the coast like Windjammer, and you just kind of go along, and you go into the harbors like Castries if you don't have a boat dock, or Rodney Bay if you don't have a boat dock for the hotels around there. Bay Gardens has a little boat dock, not at the resort, but right to the side, that has about a 150 foot walk that we drop off at. So, it just depends. And it also, once again, depends upon how many people we have on that specific transfer scheduled date. By the way, we do takeovers. So, if you have a customer that flat out just doesn't want to have anybody else aboard, maybe they got to, because we get this all the time. Matter of fact, our number 1 business right now is private takeovers, even for, a husband and wife and 2 or 3 kids. It's been pretty amazing. So some people just say, hey, I don't want to stop anywhere else. We'll take the boat over. And they really don't care what the cost is. So we have a private rate one way that they could just have, 3 people, 1 person, or 14. Doesn't matter.
Okay, great. So Amber, that answers your question. And Latanya, about how far the resorts are from the airport, that generalization, that answered your question earlier as well. And Brenda's asking, are you going to be working with tour operators such as Pleasant Holidays and Travel Impressions?
I don't know yet. We're still kind of debating on that. The reason I say that is I kind of like if I get an offer and they want to do something great, but keep in mind that those are called middlemen, right? They're going to make their own commission. So I always like to say it's better to go direct to the supplier, the vendor, than it is to a middle company. But if they do come to us and want to do something, then we'll consider it. But keep in mind that we have a certain maximum net rate that we're going to provide because we're already at a very low rate for what we're offering.
Okay, great. Kate's asking, how many boats do you actually have and employees that work with you?
Right now we have one boat. Remember, we just launched in December. It was to say the least fun enough to get that one going. It took literally almost 10 months to do that. So logistically, we're working on a second boat that we hope to introduce. I would probably say in May or June. But once again, we want to make sure that as a business owner and financially, we have enough business to warrant two boats.
Yeah, that's fair. Absolutely. Okay, so someone is actually on your site's registration page, but they're not seeing where they can register.
Down at the very, very bottom of the website, it says, scroll all the way down. It says travel agent. You click on that.
Okay. Anita's asking if there's a weight limitation.
Weight limitation in terms of an individual or luggage or what?
I'm not sure. Just is there maybe
No, there isn't.
no.
No.
Okay. And
In
okay.
fact, we actually like more weight because it helps it helps suppress any waves.
Okay, great. And you actually answered how many boats you have. Deborah was asking as well. And how long is the wait time to actually from, airport to getting into the boat to getting picked up?
Well, keep in mind that St. Lucia has time change differences. So what happens is it's all predicated on the airline schedules, right? And so we have a specific time when our boat will take off. Like right now, we're in a specific time zone to where on the East Coast, St. Lucia is an hour ahead. So if it's 3 o'clock here in the East Coast, then it's 4 o'clock in St. Lucia. Our boat will take off at 4 o'clock. So that's why we recommend that if people are on a later flight, they really, really need to get fast track because it's not fair that the other people get fast track and then someone that gets a late flight is stuck in an hour and a half line. We just don't wait. And that's part of the terms and conditions that they agree to, that if they get stuck in that long line and to get fast track, our boat leaves at 4. And then if we're not able to accommodate them because they're way too late, 4:15 might be the extent of it. Then we set them up with our ground transfer partner and then do the differential charge back on it. You know what I'm saying? Give them a
No
little bit of a
problem.
refund.
I mean, there's only so much that can be controlled with timing, right? For sure.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned it a couple times, but someone missed it. Just roughly the cut down time on transfer. I know they're all different but just average from ground to boat.
Well, typically the majority of the flights arrive at about in between 2 o'clock and 3:15. So basically when people get out, we grab them. And it just, once again, it's predicated on our schedule, on who's coming in when, right? But typically when they get off the flight, get through customs, get over to our boat and all that, it may be at the most 45 minutes. But keep in mind, they're enjoying hanging out on the boat, having drinks and all that.
Sounds good. What was the name of the fast track again that is offered through St. Lucia Airport?
The name of the company is called Harris Company.
All right. So Joy's asking, are the drivers certified, professionally trained?
Yes. Yeah, our captain has over 20 plus years of service. Everybody has to be certified. Even our first mate has to be certified as a first mate. He's licensed. All of our people are licensed. And then they're all specialists in first aid and all that, to the point of knowing how to use our heart defibrillator, our choking device, and all that.
Okay, good to know. And there's a
Oh,
few
by the way, I
questions-
will say this, there are some people out there that don't abide by those rules.
Right.
So if you go cheap, you probably know why.
A couple of people are asking about a few hotels you work with. I'm just going to say them if that's okay. Zoteries come up a couple times.
In terms of work with, they have a boat dock, so we do drop people off at that boat dock. It's a very nice resort. I've actually stayed there myself. I'm working with them to try to do something to bundle in our package with them. So yes, they're definitely someone that we do away. Royalton Hideaways, they do not have a boat dock, so we take them to the closest marina, and it's about less than a 10-minute drive.
Okay, great. Okay. And how many times per day do you run your transfers?
One time, one up and one back.
Okay, great.
Because
And
we keep in mind that the flights also leave pretty close to the same time. So they leave anytime after 1:30 to 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we pick everybody up in the morning, like at 11, 11:30, 12 latest, depending upon where they are, and then get everybody to the to the airport at least 2 hours in advance. So once again, it's predicated, pickup time's predicated on who we have going that day.
okay, great. And what's the youngest age of kids that you accept?
Anybody.
Perfect.
We could have a lap child. We don't charge for 3 and under lap childs.
Okay. And are you able to say what the starting rate for the takeover is?
The takeover starts off at 850 to 950, depending upon where they're going.
Okay.
Now, if
And
you have a group of 10 people, that's a heck of a deal.
oh, for sure it is. And Brenda's asking, do you register as an agency or an individual agent with you?
It's up to you. You could register individually. If you're an agency owner, then obviously you would register with as an agency, but you would be the point person for that agency. But if you're an independent contractor or a travel agent, you would want to register yourself.
Okay. And maybe you've answered this a little bit, but Amber's asking any other resorts on the north end that have docks, and about how long is a ride to the north end?
Yeah, I said that a little bit earlier in the presentation. The farthest north end resort that has a dock is Sandals Grand. And then right next door to that is the Landings. And that would take about an hour and 20 to an hour and 30 minutes, depending upon conditions and who else we're dropping off.
Oh, that's
Which,
great.
by the way, remember when I started my story, it took me 3 hours and 15 minutes to get to the Landings from the airport, and everyone was car sick.
Yeah, it's definitely more than half for sure at the time. Teresa's asking, do you guys supply life jackets for all ages? And do you
Yeah,
recommend?
that's a requirement. That's definitely a licensing thing that we have to abide by that.
Okay, perfect. All right. And I'm assuming this goes such a great speed. There's no chance for anyone to get seasick because it's boom, right?
I mean, at the end of the day, we have not had anybody get seasick that I'm aware of yet. I mean, we might have had since we started about 70, 80 passengers. My people have not told me about anyone getting motion sickness, seasick, or anything else like that. But if someone has that kind of thing, you might want to ask your customers that, hey, if you do get kind of on the water, that's an individual thing. But there's things that you could take, like Dramamine or whatever that stuff's called. The different stuff you could take if you're like going on a cruise ship or something. But really, I don't. It doesn't get that bad to where you have the swells that would cause that, because you're in a speedboat going through everything.
Right. Okay, just checked in with our friends on Facebook as well to make sure that there wasn't any questions. Just a reminder, everyone, I put Rob's information several times in the chat box. I also put it in on Facebook. I put it on Zoom. So there's quite a bit there as well. And also the Spoiled Agent Supplier page that's there for you as well. Okay. All right. Lots of great comments about how great the presentation was. They really enjoyed learning about everything. So thank you. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Rob, other than the 2 fabulous prizes that you're going to be giving away? Thank you for your generosity. We really learned a lot, and 2 lucky spoiled agents are going to get an email from Rob in a couple days. and get yourselves to St. Lucia.
Yep. Get to St. Lucia and use Spoiled Agent, because I know I've seen a lot of stuff where they've promoted St. Lucian hotels that are offering fam rates. So get that checked out.
Right. And don't forget, for those that joined us on our St. Lucia showcase a few months ago, you may have met Rob there, but now we've got him here with all the information in case you weren't able to chat long there. So perfect. Thank you, Rob,
Great.
for everything and being such a great supplier with us.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Bye for now.